How's it going? And you're very welcome along to the Football Pod with Paddy Andrews, James O'Donoghue and Tommy Rooney. Pretty interesting weekend, boys. Where do you want to start?
Jimmy, I'll let you do a victory lap here.
It could have been the greatest weekend of my life. It could have been the greatest weekend of my life. Oh, lads, you were under savage pressure, man. Savage pressure.
Dubs. We'll get to the Dubs. Let's get Tommy back in his box here. He's been on a victory lap all year. Like, come on.
He's been so smug for literally 10 months, I'd say. And now it's just starting to, the ground is starting to go from under your tongue. But that's okay. Don't worry.
We had to expect a little bit of. You had to expect a little bit of shithousery from Jimmy here now.
Oh, that's fine.
On the car on the way up on Friday to Meath, he had the path to Sam Maguire made out like.
Now, James.
The path to Sam, he was calling it, right? And he was going from the semi-final of Leinster into the final to beat the Dubs in the Leinster final, then on to the next stage. And if we can avoid this team, we've the beating of them, this, that, and the other. First hurdle.
Now, you'd want to be awful innocent to believe James O'Donoghue's words there. We were in McCourt. Now, Paddy,
I sat here Friday night, like we were in there. We were there. On the ground.
What sort of vibes was I giving off McCormick's? Was I not quaking in my boots ahead of Westmeath?
The chest was out, which is fine. Meath have been on a great run. We can't knock that. Like, All-Ireland semi-finalists, promoted to Division 1. It has been a positive period. I expect them to win yesterday. Some reservations about them, and Jimmy, you spoke about it as well, in terms of just that we know they can shoot the lights out. We know they're brilliant to watch. They're exciting. And yesterday was the latest iteration of that. A brilliant game to watch. But you can get at them. That is the concern. They've got great guys in their half-back line, all that good sort of stuff. But they don't really shut teams down. And to be fair, a little bit of fortune with Westmeath, a couple of the goals, okay. But Westmeath, top goal scorers across all the divisions. They hit 5 last week against Longford, and they hit 4 yesterday. The last goal was kind of the last play of the game. But there was a danger. I thought they'd get through yesterday, but there's no doubt the bubble has burst a little bit around them. So they're in a tough place today, because for a fact, the Leinster Championship was a goal. I know that within that team. And it's to fall at the first hurdle is such a disappointment for them.
It's a massive blow. It's balloon burst, James, in a lot of ways. But can we just for 1 second linger on something James said last week on the pod? And he said he couldn't get over, and it just reminded him the difference between league and championship. And to me, it felt like Meath had turned up in league mode, and Westmeath, who had won the week beforehand, and there's only a 1 week gap between the Longford and Westmeath games, but they were in championship mode. And once Meath missed a couple of chances early doors. And we're going back to Tullamore. Tullamore last year was the scene of a big turn in the championship when Meath got the better of Kerry, who were a little bit off it that day, who weren't fully tuned in. And James, I think in these new rules, if you're not mentally 100%, you are going to get opened. Like you're just going to get exposed.
Though, Tommy, for me,
I couldn't get over
got to be looking at that. Come on.
But Meath bet Westmeath last year by a goal after the Hooter in the league. There's never really been a huge amount between these two.
True, but I think, first of all, you have to give so much credit to Westmeath, right? They didn't go up from 3. They got their act together, got that little something, a sharp edge in their mind, obviously hammered Longford, right? But the freedom with which their forwards played was sensational. For some reason, with these new rules, we have not seen that fluidity, that creativity, the cheek, the toniness, we have not seen that enough. And the scores that Westmeath kicked, obviously from Luke Loughlin and from Corcoran inside,
fabulous.
They were top range scores. And I mean, that's just playing on a different level of confidence. And I think they did a great clip on the Sunday game as well of the one-on-one defending. Yeah. If you can have that sticky, tight cornerback play where you're coming in and breaking the ball, the crowd just get up. Your forwards are like, yes, we're back on. We have another counter-attack chance. You know, because if every attack is a slow attack, it's really hard to get those creative scores. But if you have the odd counter-attack from your cornerback turning over the ball and you're gone at pace, it breathes life to the whole thing. And some of the scores they got were absolutely magnificent. Like Corcoran's score when
His 1-1 in the second half, James.
Yeah, in the second half,
the
when
dummy,
he's going down the right,
outside of
he
the
does
boot.
the dummy hop. Oh, it's so good. It is such a brilliant score. And then like Luke Loughlin's steps, where he just plants all his weight onto his left and goes back on the right, or all his weight onto the right, goes back onto the left. It's so hard to stop. So I was so impressed by their attack. It was just is the word I have for it.
Did you hear Luke Loughlin talking to Jonathan Higgins after the game for Off the Ball? And the quote, I just loved it. Our inside line, me and the two young lads, Shane Corcoran, who's 21, and Brandon Kelly, who's 24, we fancy ourselves against anyone, to be honest, one-on-one. And that's the key, isn't it? Like, one-on-one. Like, Sean Coffey, we were talking about Sean Coffey on Friday night. He's been one of the finest centre-backs across the last 18 months in the new game. He gets skinned one-on-one. Like, he just gets open, but it's so much space around him for that goal in the second half.
That was unforgivable defending. Unforgivable. Like, if you're going to say that he just had too much space, he didn't handle him. He literally, I give Corcoran
he skinned him.
all the praise in the world for the point and a couple of points he got and all the tricks. That one, he didn't even do a dummy, and he just ran around him. Now the finish was absolutely out of this world as well, but the defending for every single one of those goals, right, by Meath was awful. And I was like, why did that happen? And I'm thinking they've been so maybe this is an excuse for them. They've been used to setting up against like tactically really coached teams in attack, where you're going, you run there, and next thing Meath are doing a lovely zonal defence, and they're kind of getting lots of tackles in. And Westmeath just played so off the cuff with so much individual skill that it exposed every single one of them for individual defending. Like for who got the goal in the first half, or kind of dribbled into the
Matthew Whitaker. He lost it.
Not
Corcoran
from the short sideline.
Yeah. Corcoran's goal, right? He's in the
corner.
corner. He solos the ball up in the air. Okay?
Yeah.
And he catches it and still scores a goal. Now, the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I know how hard it is at times to get chances and score goals and be in there and be killed. To solo the ball up in the air, there's not a hope in hell you should be getting any score out of that. You should be ripped of the ball. So they let him in for that goal. Whitaker's goal then, he drops the ball, has time to pick it up, swivel around. I'd say he does 3 180s and then bangs it into the corner of the net. Absolutely.
In the centre channel.
Unforgivable defending. And then the worst was Corcoran's goal, because I just think no one bailed out Coffey. No one came over to say, we better double up here, this is dangerous. They all just stayed there. And then Coffey doesn't put a hand on him and he buries in the back of the net. If we are talking about getting up to championship level, defensively they didn't. They still kicked 25 points. Outstanding in attack. But they're missing something really important at the back. And even when they were exposed by Cork, now I'm thinking, no wonder Sherlock kicked 10 points against
Jimmy, this is what we spoke with. The concern with me, they're doing lots of good things. They get into shootouts, they've got the way they play, that abandon, everything you're saying about Westmeath, we've been saying about Meath for the last few months as well. So there's lots of good stuff happening. But the concern of getting to the next level, without a doubt, is that defensive operation. We know they've got good play, like a Light Caulfield, a lot Kyogan we spoke about for an incredible servant and career, but they don't shut teams down. That is not their strength. It's something I'm sure Robbie Brennan's aware of, but if you're talking about winning provincial championship and getting back to an All-Ireland semi-final and playing in Division 1 against the likes of Kerry and Galway and all these teams, they have to be harder to play against. As a neutral, it's brilliant to watch because we know we're going to see lots and lots of scores. But you go through those goals and say, okay, Corcoran's first goal is a bit fortuitous, but everything you've said there, getting to that point, it's just too easy. It's too easy. They need to be harder to play against. Yesterday is not a new thing. We would have seen that a lot from them, but they were caught out yesterday. So massive credit to Mark McHugh and those Westmeath players, because no doubt, like it's a big setback for them. And he said as much, not to get out of Division 3. And I would have Westmeath as a Division 2 team, but they've been languishing down in Division 3. There's a couple of times they fecked it up. But yesterday, we know Loughlin is exceptional. We spoke about it on Friday's show in Meath that he's one of the best forwards in the province. and Kennellan was brilliant again at midfield. Worry for Westmeath going to the next game. Luke Loughlin's not going to niggle. He is pivotal to them if it's a rematch. They play Kildare. They were beaten last year in the championship by them, but they were full value for it yesterday. And the slight Achilles heel that Meath have was really, really ruthlessly shown up yesterday.
I
think
hope Luke
it's more than slight.
I hope Luke Loughlin's injury isn't bad, because he does put a lot of pressure on the body with some of those jinks and turns.
He's big, he's powerful.
He commits to them, and they're so hard to defend against. But he needs the body to be right to pull off those moves. I hope he's right, because they'd be hard.
Do you know the flying kind of step he does, where he's going at like 100 miles an hour and kind of shows the ball? Is that like a rugby? I can't even figure out how he's doing it.
He's a big man as well. Like, it's not like he's not like a Conlon there from in the corner where he's jinky. Like he's powerful, and then he's got he's got a bit of step and a bit of agility about him as well. Like, but it's important. He's back. This is what happens. The nature of things when you build up miles on the clock, you get these knocks and niggles. But the championship, they've 2 weeks now to get him right, and what a position they're in now. And the same, we'll get to Kildare. Had a bad finish to their league campaign, but they picked up a win, and now they're looking at it going, geez, we can get to a Leinster final as well. So we said this would be a brilliant provincial championship, and yesterday just highlighted that again. But for me, made the story from it that it's been so positive all season. The one thing I'd say in their favour, and Robbie Brennan alluded to it afterwards, he kind of said, well, look, you just have to get back up off the canvas and go again. They were beaten by 20 points in the All-Ireland semi-final last year.
Yeah.
Bad and an embarrassing defeat for them with all the momentum behind them. But look how they bounced back from that. They came in at the start of this season and they won Division 2. Not just promoted, they won the thing. So they've had setbacks already in recent memory for a lot of this group and that management team. Yesterday was a big one. No doubt about it, because they wanted to win the Leinster Championship. But they got to regroup. They're in the All-Ireland series and they can still have a big say on the summer. But the defensive piece is, you just can't, it's hard to hide it. You can't get away from it. And, whoever they're playing in the All-Ireland series, they're going to look at that as well and go, right, we can get at this.
Well, the thing is, it's Tyrone, if they qualify, are in the same boat. It's Down, who are now under savage pressure, the Division 3 champions. If Westmeath make it to the provincial final, Conor Laverty's Down will be competing in the Tanchin Cup again this year. So that's the big carrot there. And for the likes of a Meath or Tyrone, who actually aren't secure in the All-Ireland series yet, they're going to be meeting a provincial finalist in their round 1 game. There isn't as much of a cushion this year in the All-Ireland series. So you lose that first game, you're into a loser's round, and you could be drawing another team that are right in the mix. So it's it'll be very interesting to see how Meath respond. It'll be very interesting to see this Westmeath Kildare game, because Kildare put up 220 on Laois at the weekend. And I'll be honest, lads, I had a suspicion going into the weekend there was going to be a shock in Leinster. Yeah, I was hoping it wouldn't be Meath. Paddy, you gave a bit of a look last week when I said Wicklow might put it up to the Dubs. We'll come back to that in a second.
Who won
one team,
who got
the
through?
Dubs. The Dubs.
Okay.
We'll come back to it. We'll go through them down.
Sorry,
but one team who really asserted themselves, Louth Wexford. 125 to 11 points. I didn't see a 17-point gap coming in this one.
No.
And 30 minutes into this game, it was fairly close. Louth had pulled 3 points ahead. And then just before half-time, a couple of 2-pointers from Kieran Keenan and Sam Mulroy, and they're 9 points clear at the break. They bring on Ryan Burns and Tyke McDonald at half-time. McDonald kicks 4 in the second half. Burns kicks a couple of points too.
Kieran Downey coming back from injury as well.
Louth flex their muscles.
Crucial to them.
In case we hadn't remembered, the defending champions were third favourites going into the Leinster series this year. So Samuel Roy gave a little smile when I put that to him a couple of weeks back. They're in a good place now going in to face the Dubs. The managerless Dubs.
I think Louth are in a great place.
It was a statement performance yesterday. Like, Wexford promoted, had a great spring campaign as well, and you and racked up big scores. And you thought Louth would have too much for them, but it was a dominant performance. And like I say, those bodies coming back from injury, Louth, slow start to the season. We were asking questions after 2 or 3 rounds of the league, going, is the hangover permanent? from winning that Leinster championship. To be fair to Gavin Devlin and those players, getting their boys back on the pitch, like I say, Downey is pivotal. Just how they play, a real silky player. Mulroy is just playing with that confidence. He's going from strength to strength. I belong as at the top table, one of the best players in the country. So, and you know what? For that, we'll do a piece, obviously a bit more depth next week in the lead up to that Dublin Louth Leinster semi-final, which is set to be a brilliant game.
Saturday night.
Yeah, it's a game Louth will have wanted. I would feel. I'd say within that camp, it's a case. They won the Leinster Championship last year without beating Dublin. We want to go back to back, and Louth can view this from their perspective. Let's put a stake in the heart of this Dublin team and finish them off. That's the opportunity for Louth. They'll have wanted to play Dublin. We'll get to Dublin's kind of mindset going into that game and how important that's going to be. But Louth, massive statement yesterday for them, and it sets up a brilliant game on Saturday week. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. James, Louth set up with a number of units across their middle third. Connor Early and Darren McDonnell named to start in midfield, kicked 3 points apiece. But then you have a half forward line of Conor Grimes, Paul Matthews, Tommy Dernan, Sam Mulroy, who's good in the air as well. Like,
landed a joint.
They can mix it up, Louth, and now they're getting their bodies back, as Paddy mentioned. You know, Kieran Downey coming off the bench. There was no need to bring on Craig Lennon. They've been able to save him and wrap him up in cotton wool for the next day. So, Louth are in a good place.
They are in a really, really good place. Like, Devlin has done a sensational job there as well. From where, like, at the start of the league, we were saying, these fellas, are they going to get back up again after obviously getting so high, and then have they taken the foot off the gas? They've gone there, and they're playing better football than they were last year. But in fairness to Mulroy, you mentioned the kickouts there, Tom, and obviously the dominance they have there with size. But playing Mulroy out there, he makes every decision. He makes the correct decision. He's stuck in every score. Like, if you ever see the highlight reels of Louth, he's always letting off. If it's not the last pass or the shot, he's an extra pass away. He's stuck in everything, just making the right decision, making sure fellas are doing the right things. The leadership he shows for them is outstanding. And in that Leinster final last year against Meath, I don't think Meath got a handle on him. So I think that Dublin, like, if they're going to do anything, it's get on Mulroy. Like, I think he's gone so good, so influential, such a brilliant player. Even if he drifts out, I'd be sacrificing a defender and putting him on him, because the level of football he's playing at the moment is just outstanding. But
he ran that Leinster final like Paddy Clifford around the All-Ireland. He had like 60 touches of the ball.
He did. And in this day and age, he's too good. Paddy Clifford is too good. These are actually errors in how you set up. You need to mark these fellas, and then we'll see. Even with the County thing, so teams leaving now, they're tagging him. Now we'll see, can they create? Now Mulroy can. Like, there's no doubt about it. Mulroy's used to being inside, but I'd like to see him have a proper duel with someone against Dublin and still come out on top, because I think he is that good.
You would think Ger Brennan would notice, as you know, having spent 2 years coaching him and how close their relationship would have been in terms of Louth going on and winning that Leinster Championship. So, look, that's one aspect of what's going to be a brilliant game. But I agree, that we speak about levels. We talk about Finnerty and Galway. These players, when they have that kind of breakout, and we've always been around for a while, but that like real outstanding year, all starts like, yeah, I am one of the top players in the country. I'm going to play like that confidence, and he gives that to the other players on the team as well. Is what a massive leader. And look, we'll keep saying it. It's one of the games of the championship. What's going to come up on Saturday week? So,
yeah.
Do you remember when Mulroy came out first and he was playing brilliant football? But I think they might have been down in Division 3.
Well, they went from 4. They went from 4 to 1. Yeah.
And he said straight out, like in an interview, I am one of the best in the country. And I was like, I suppose everyone was kind of taken aback with how confident he was and how able he was to say that, even without maybe performing at the latter end of championships yet. And to see him steadily go there, get there, stay there, is very, very impressive, you'd have to say, because it was a ballsy kind of statement at the time, but he's 100% delivered on it. I think he's definitely one of the best around.
I don't want you to misquote him. I thought he had written down that he wanted to be on his whiteboard. He wanted to be the best in the country, or he was going to be. Like he
spoke about this,
and very openly,
and stuff like that. So, like I say, a very un-Irish thing. We don't see much of it. Definitely an un-GA thing, but to be fair to him, he's putting the work in and has put the work in. And the opportunity for him on a personal level is, can I captain Louth to back-to-back Leinster championships and beyond? That's what it's all for. That's why you're doing it. So, but what he's produced over the last 18 months in particular has been exceptional, and he just shows no signs of slowing down. So, without a doubt, Dublin need to have some sort of plan to curb his influence. You can't just let him dictate the game.
It was March 2022 when Samuel Roy said that. He was top scorer in the country, and he was talking to Thomas Niblock on the GA Social podcast. Louth were promoted from Division 3. Louth were promoted from Division 3 that year.
Promoted from 3, yeah.
Yeah, so that's, and he put that on the record,
Yeah. But mentally, in terms of this game, obviously Louth have the win under the belt against Wexford. Mentally, they'll be going into this Dublin game in a great place. They're reigning champions. I think every other game against Dublin, they're kind of thinking, are we there? Are we good enough to beat Dublin? I don't think there's any question now. I think they are good enough to beat Dublin. And they should almost go in, not expecting to win, but they should have that little bit of feeling there's someone that we should be going here and getting a result. And I'd have them favourites for that game, if I'm being honest. I don't know who's still favourites for the Leinster Championship. Dublin were before the weekend. I think that Louth will be too strong for them.
I haven't checked. Paddy, it's a Saturday night game, 2nd of May in O'Moore Park.
GA Plus, friends.
But what a great time to have a Leinster semi-final outside of Croke Park in a provincial ground. Like, I was in Ennis on Sunday and there was 20,000, just shy of 20,000 packed into Cusack Park for Clare and Waterford.
The Munster hurling looked good yesterday.
Yeah, and Ennis is such a great town for championship. Do you know, a 2:00 game, the atmosphere is building up and everyone's excited, and a really competitive, high-scoring game as well. That's just going to be a cracking atmosphere that evening in Portlaoise.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It is. It's going to be brilliant. I say Louth, the whole village will be out for that one, and the Dubs. Dublin need support. They're not in the best place as a team at the minute, so but there'll still be a big crowd. So, like I say, it sets it up as one of the biggest games of the summer so far. It's a tough one to call. I'm sure we'll go into more detail next week.
Would you be confident going to that game?
I don't know. I backed Dublin to win the Leinster Championship at the start of this. Yesterday wasn't great, not great at all. The Ger Brennan thing is not ideal either. We'll even think about it. We'll do a big piece on this next week, lads.
James, who did you back for the Leinster Championship?
Meath.
Who did I back?
Louth. Yeah, we were split.
There you go.
That's only because what you say in cars and what you say on the pod are completely different.
Yeah, exactly. Your actual thoughts. If you were honest about stuff here, it'd be great.
Has my driving improved? I chauffeured you up the road on.
It has.
I'm charging him a fee for this time. Jesus Christ.
Your golf has improved, James. I'll give you that much. Your
Thanks.
Golf has improved. We got a couple of holes in the Knightsbrook, Paddy. The two of us were talking so much, we forgot our wedges on the first green and had to ring back to the clubhouse. And Ben in the pro shop sorted us out. So thanks, Ben, for spinning over in the buggy and getting our wedges for us. So that wasn't great, James.
No, but 9 holes is just right.
Just dusting off the cobwebs, lads. Heading into summer.
Yeah, dead exactly. Right. I'll tell you what, I struck a 3-wood off the fairway absolutely brilliantly, Tom, didn't I? I'd say
you did.
Are you off scratch now, Jimmy? Is it?
No, 3.
3, okay.
303.
James.
The long journey.
Paddy,
I'm still actually in the process of getting the handicap because I haven't logged enough scores that I got, and I'm not a member anywhere yet. But I have a lovely golf bag and trolley.
He does. He does.
Yeah. Ad.
He striped the 3-wood, Paddy, but he never checked his distance, so it took us about 5 minutes to find it. About 50 yards behind the green. But yeah, lads, you kind of brushed by the Dubs there. Couple of big things. Dean Rock was the manager this weekend, stepping in for Ger Brennan. Paddy Small, I think the Dubs can thank for actually getting them through this one. He kicked 2 2-pointers. He buried a goal. Conor Callaghan went off injured again, which is a big worry going into the Louth game. Killian McGuinness grew into it. And for Wicklow and for Oisin McConville's charges, what a missed opportunity. It felt like they had them on the ropes. Owen Darcy scored 2-2. Oisin McGrainer had a huge influence. Dean Healy was fantastic, kicked 5 points. And Mark Jackson, one of the best keepers in the land, one of the best strikers of a football, went 0 from 6 from his shots off the deck. I think it was 4 2-point frees and 245s.
Goal
And it
chance at the end.
Just didn't happen.
They'll never have a
JP
better
Nolan.
chance.
Yeah.
They'll never have a better chance to win. And they put it up to them a couple of years ago as well in Akram. It's as much about, like, that's a Division 4 team playing, you know, albeit a relegated Division 1 team. It's what a massive, massive opportunity for them. They will be kicking themselves. Like, see, Mark Jackson, you said it, Tommy, like, when's the last time he's had 0% success? And the goal chance at the end, that kick it wide, never mind, you know, over the bar. It's just, Ushie McConvent that would have been one of the great victories. Like, to be fair, one of the biggest upsets we'd have ever seen. And they were full value for it. Dublin had a man sent off, the young fella Liam Smith, just,
Was it harsh?
again,
It was
he catches him in the head. It's not intentional.
It was unlucky. It was unlucky.
And shoulder guy in the head. You have to be sent off for that. You know, it's not.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate for him. You know, I think it was championship debut. Just not ideal. Khan being injured again. It's like, it's a challenge for Dublin. This is the nature of things. We said it with Luke Loughlin at the top of the show. Guys have lots of miles on the clock. You're just trying to get your body right. And Khan, realistically, the last couple of championships, every time we're talking about Dublin, he's so important, but we're never getting him at 100%. Fitness, Paddy Small, I agree, Tommy. We spoke with Paddy Small during the league as well. He's the closest forward Dublin have to Khan in terms of just power, directness. Really hard for teams to stop. He's so quick and direct, but same thing with him. If I was Ger or Dean, whoever's managing for the next 2 weeks, just don't let Paddy Small on the pitch. Don't let him train. He doesn't need to do anything. Just stop and play against Louth, because he came off the last game of the league against Galway. He doesn't get a run without picking up injuries. That's just the nature of guys. He knocks and niggles. He is critical to Dublin because he's as close to Khan that they have. Outside of that, defensively, you look, Darcy's goal, Owen Merchant on the edge of the square. You know, that's not Merchant's strength. He gets a knock as well. Just a flatness around the team. Massive credit to Wicklow. Possibly should have won the game, but if you're looking at it really harshly from Dublin, and I know they will be at this, it's a Division 4 team. You know, it's not good enough. It is just nowhere near good enough. And like I said, we'll do a big piece coming into next week for the Louth game, but you've got to look at it and go, you know, what are the players expecting here? Like, you know, and we get to, there's loads of new players coming in and younger guys. That's all fine. You've got Dublin's success and failure this season is going to be on the back of, you know, Davy Byrne, Merchant, Howard, Kilkenny, Khan, Scully. And the question mark is there. It's going, you know, how badly do you want this thing? You know, because I'm sure they're doing their ice baths and they're doing their analysis and all that type of stuff and ticking all the boxes there. But the reality is they go to play Louth on Saturday week and it's a fight. You know, you got to be up for it. You got to have the energy. And they all have All Ireland medals coming out their arse and All Stars and all that stuff, which is brilliant. That doesn't count for anything next Saturday. Dublin will win or lose that match on the basis of those key guys down the centre channel. And if, Jimmy, you said something the other night in the show, you know, when you get a bit older and you have lots of miles on the clock, you know, you've got to answer, do you want this enough? Because Louth are coming for them, and Louth are going to be all over them and giving them loads of lip, and Molloy kicks a score and he's waving to the crowd, or Tommy Durnan goes up and fetches a ball and puts a knee in your back and is standing over for you. Are you going to fucking take that? That's the question. For Howard, for Kilkenny, for these guys, it's like, you're kind of training away there, but it's a fight. You need to play with energy and edge as if you're 21, 22 years of age. And that's the question mark. And no one's going to know, and maybe even the players won't know. Maybe they'll go. They're a little bit of doubt themselves, but come 8:30 or 8:45 next Saturday night, they'll know. The feedback will be on the pitch, and you'll see where this team are at. And this winning or losing of that game is going to be on those guys. Whatever about the young lads, let them find their way. It's the experienced guys. Have you got it in you still? And there's no right or wrong, but from my own experience, you get to the end, and it's like, I don't know if I have the edge here that these young fellas have. And that's the question mark around Dublin. And we seen it yesterday. They were nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. And they got away with it. They deliver that in Portlaoise next Saturday. And that will be the end of the road for them.
James?
No, I think he's right. It's mad. It's still like going back to what I heard about. It's mad how it's kicked off. It's so important this next week for Dublin. Like obviously, it's been a case of over the National League, getting new players in, lots of trials, lots of patience and time. Now you stuttered against Wicklow. No, it's really time. It's really the time. And Louth are going to be waiting. Like Louth are an excellent side now. They are really an excellent
But
side.
Jimmy, this
I
day
think
was
they're going to be
coming.
set up perfectly.
This scenario was going to come for Dublin. Like whether it was in the Leinster Championship, more than likely it was, or in an All Ireland series, there was going to be a period where they're up against it. And it's like, what have you got? Have you still got? Does another Leinster medal, mean that much to Kieran Kilkenny in the grand scheme of things? His legacy. These guys, their legacies are secure. They're outstanding Dublin players, phenomenal careers, reached the highest of highs. But none of that counts come Saturday, and I don't know. I honestly don't think anyone knows. They could go out and show they still have the edge. If they do that, I think they'll win the match. But if they don't, and there's doubt around it, this could be, there's a lot riding on this for them.
I wonder how much is the Joe Brennan thing affecting the camp? Like, it's an easy excuse to make, and I think if it was me or if it was Kerry, I think that it would galvanise you in a way. You'd be able to spin it in a positive way, or that would be definitely the goal of everyone else left. It was like when Meath lost their coaches. Now that's lesser. Obviously, it's the coaches, it's not the manager. But they galvanised each other and they used it. So I'm thinking that Dublin would do the same. I can't see it's an excuse that can be made, but I don't see it as that big of an issue. I don't think it's causing. It didn't cause that performance, and it won't cause defeat against Louth. Do you think it's causing more?
I think the only thing, Jimmy, and it's hard to know because they're not in the camp, but it's like it's a relatively inexperienced management team without Ger anyway.
Yeah.
Like it's not like there's a Keane O'Neill or something like that who's been around the block. Like it's Clucko. This is Dino's first gig, and he's the manager now. You know what I mean? So it's not like Ger's out of the action, which is just not ideal because he's the manager. You want him there, and the fact that it's the 12-week thing, and I only spoke about the Sunday game, can't be a training, anything like that. That is not ideal. How much of an impact it makes, we don't know. You might hear after the championship stuff like that. It's diabolical for Ger that he's missing the majority of the championship this first season, and it's a tough situation for Bastick and Cluxton and Dean Rock because they've no real experience, and now they're going, well, you need to manage the thing. Players might look to it for an excuse, but it's not like it was sunshine and roses before Ger's suspension either. They were relegated. You know what I mean? So it's an added challenge. And as Robbie Brennan said yesterday after the Meath game, you have two options: you either just sit down and knock it on the head, or you go again. And it all comes back to the mentality here. As yes, young guys can come through, and what is this guy good enough or not? Or is he going to have 10 years playing for Dublin? I get all that. Saturday week is about those main guys. If they can stand up and go, yeah, we're still fucking here, like, and maybe it is all that stuff on their back, and they'll stand up and deliver. I don't question their character. We played with these guys, outstanding. But if they're not at it, this whole thing is gone.
I have a feeling that Gavin Devlin is a very good motivator, and I only take that right from when we met him in Louth last year. Right? It's
this time last year,
he can captivate you. I think he has that skill. Okay,
we were all ready to throw on loud jerseys that night when Devlin had his goal.
Let's fucking get him. But I think he has that skill, right? I and Louth have the belief because they won it last year.
Yeah, they do.
And they smell blood with Dublin. Okay, so those three factors, I think that Louth are going to get to a really good place mentally and in their gut for the Dublin game. On the flip side, for always and ever, when Dublin are questioned, they are able to get to an intensity level of tackling and aggression and borderline, just on the borderline of over the line. Okay, just on it. They can get there probably better than most teams. But if they're not at that, then the talent in the team is not there at the moment, especially now if Khan's not playing and Paddy Small is, not training or trying to get through. If they don't get to that pitch and that level, I think Louth will beat them. But
They're
even
not
if
good
they
enough to
do, I think
play
the
in
Louth are
second
coming
or
from
third
such a
gear,
good
Jimmy.
place.
I
It's not
agree.
guaranteed
I don't think anyone is good enough to play in second or third gear under the new rules.
anymore.
And
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm articulating it properly, but I feel like in the old game, whether it be club level or intercounty level, you could get away with it if you individually weren't fully at it, because maybe in a system, in a 15-man defence, maybe somebody else will step up for you in attack or something. But the entire premise of the new game now is one-on-one. Like, it is one-on-one, and you will be exposed if you aren't at it. And if there's 2 or 3 fellas on a team that haven't got the right energy, that aren't good enough, it'll go through the entire side, and you can just get washed.
Yeah, there's no hiding place. And we seen it last year. There's also the piece, there's so little between teams. There's not a whole pile between Dublin, Louth, Meath at this level. We said in the All-Ireland series, we did lots of games in the All-Ireland series last year. It was like, I remember vividly when I'd been up in Oma last year for Mayo to come and hammer Tyrone. You know, and Tyrone had beaten Donegal the week before, and Malik O'Rourke came in afterwards and we were chatting to him on GA Plus, and he was just like, yeah, we just couldn't get up to the pitch for that. We didn't change anything. It was just the intensity required. And he made that exact point to him. If you're a little bit off it at this level, you are going to get punished. And I said, if, you know, that was a Division 4 team against a Division 1 team yesterday, and Dublin really should have lost the game. You know, they got away with one massively there. That margin for error is gone going into this thing going forward. So it's a fascinating, the story around that game is so intriguing as well. If you're on the Louth side, you can imagine them. It's just like we can really consolidate. We're the top dogs here and be the best team in Leinster. And if you're on the Dublin side, but I'm feeling as a Dublin supporter, I'd be looking going, I'd love a shot at this Louth team.
Yeah, bear with us.
So we'll see. And that's not till next weekend.
We'll be doing that next Monday. We'll be having a look at that. Bear with us. We're going to take a quick break in the football pod. We'll be back with the Ulster quarterfinals and a quick look ahead to 6 championship games this coming weekend. It's all coming at us. Back in a moment. Hello there, and you're very welcome back to the football pod of Paddy Anders and James Donoghue. Fellas, Derry got the job done against Antrim in the one football game on Saturday. It was live on the BBC. I watched it back Sunday morning. Very impressed with Derry's setup, their structure. A 223 to 113 win against Antrim. Look at their Division 4 against Division 2. The gulf was evident in lots of ways, but the manner in which Derry set up, I thought, was very interesting. Owen McAvoy starting in midfield alongside Brendan Rodgers. Young Rory Forbes started at fullback with Diarmaid Baker, and Conor McCluskey returned. Shane McGuckin was in goals as well. And in the half-back line, one of the best half-back lines in the country. McKinless, McGrogan, Doherty. I mentioned the midfield already of McAvoy and Rodgers. And to me, it looked like Conor Glass was playing nearly as a second 6 behind kickouts. The Antrim keeper was going long, and Glass was sweeping up all the breaks behind them. Ethan Doherty and Paul Cassidy in the half-forward line, we know how good these boys are. And up top, Shane McGuigan kicked 9. Lachlan Murray was so lively, and he was the closest man to the square, and Niall Lachlan inside it with it as well. That's a very, very, very good first 15.
It is. Those 15 players are almost household names. 10 of them anyway. So they have a great team on paper. Are you going to judge it off, the Antrim game? No. We're going to see a lot bigger test for Derry. I've gone big on Derry in the past, and it hasn't quite worked out. So I'm gonna hold my horses on them until we see a bit more.
Monaghan next.
Yeah, like
it's the better side of the draw, obviously.
Yeah.
So
they should be getting to the final realistically, but that said, Monaghan looked a bit stronger the weekend, so it's hard to know. But I'd love to say, yeah, Derry are back, Derry are all in. Look at the amount of talent they have, but I'm just going to reserve it because a game against Antrim doesn't prove anything yet. So they have bigger tests ahead.
Yeah, Monaghan getting the job done against Cavan. I saw Paul Fitzpatrick saying it was possibly one of the biggest Monaghan wins in an awful long time against Cavan at the weekend.
Cavan needed it. Monaghan needed it. It's been a tough spring. Gabriel Brannigan's comments, obviously, after being relegated.
Yeah.
Obviously we could have been relegated to Division 3. We're lucky we weren't in Division 2. So to turn around and win a championship game, and whatever it's a good side to draw for Derry. It's a good side for Monaghan as well. They'll fancy their chances playing Derry in a couple of weeks' time. They have a few more bodies back. Began was back to influence of the game and kicking scores as well. The keeper's influence has been curbed, I suppose, as the way rules have been tweaked. But Began just kicking long range scores is pivotal to them.
And making saves, Paddy.
And making saves, doing his actual job as well. But Jesus, they needed that as a group. To have lost that one as well on the back of the way the league went for them would have been disastrous. And I said it last week, a sneaky little feeling for them to win that. Not so sure what they'll do against Derry, but it was just massive victory for that group.
Cavan had numerous goal chances. They took 2, Tiernan Madden and Darragh Lovett, putting them away. Paddy Lynch missed a penalty. Did a couple of other big chances for goals. And I suppose with a team like Monaghan, who have been on the ropes all spring and maybe aren't so sure of themselves where they're at themselves, like that was the time to put the foot in the throat and just take advantage of it. And Cavan just couldn't quite get on top of them. Yeah,
the last save by Began, Tom. I only saw the highlights of this game now, but I think it was only a minute after they scored the goal where he had another chance, and Began stands up tall and puts it over. An unbelievable save. We know that a goal is worth way more than 3 points on the scoreboard. So if that had gone in, it could have been very, very tight. Very tight. So unbelievable save.
Yeah. No, we'll be previewing that game in more depth in a couple of weeks as well. This weekend coming, lads, there are 6 championship games. There's a clatter of them that are going to be live. There was very few football games live this weekend, but this weekend coming, we have got Clare against Kerry on GA Plus at 2:00 on Saturday. We've got Leitrim against Galway on GA Plus at 3:30 on Saturday. We've yet another football game on GA Plus and BBC Northern Ireland, Fermanagh Armagh at 5:30.
I'm there. I'm at it.
Are you? You're Fermanagh Armagh?
Looking forward to track up to Enniskillen now, yeah. So we're doing Galway Leitrim, which I am interested in, and then a double header with Fermanagh Armagh. Looking forward to seeing Armagh in person now. Yeah.
So are you
see both of the All-Ireland contenders?
Are you setting up in Enniskillen or in Park?
We're in Enniskillen, yeah. So I'll be watching Galway Leitrim from Carrick and Shannon, but we're in Enniskillen for Saturday. So no, I am actually looking forward to it. I have to say.
Okay. Well,
I'm looking at the big game of the weekend, the Rossies
Sunday.
Is what
we're getting to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Tipperary Cork is the only game not televised from the football on Saturday, and then on Sunday we have got Donegal up against Down, one that's been in the calendar for an awful long time. 3:00. Yeah, 3:00 on Sunday, and then I'll be covering Mayo and Roscommon for Off the Ball on Sunday evening, 4:00 as well. So I think I did get the good game this weekend. I think I have
that's the best game of the weekend. It is.
But Donegal Down is going to be a cracker as well, I think, because Down's life in the All Ireland series is on the line now. In a lot of
hasn't worked out well for them, has it? Feels a bit unfair.
No.
Won Division 3, and the way it's panning out, like that.
Just that Westmeath
nobody's expecting them to beat Donegal. That is the reality.
Nobody is expecting it, but it'll be interesting to see because they've had them in their hairs for in the crosshairs for 6 months. I was looking back on text messages with and it's funny how these things work out with Mark McHugh at the weekend. Going to give him a shout to see would he hop on off the ball at me on presenting Tuesday night, and November last year. If we can get the job done against Wexford or against Longford, we'll be playing Meath. Last text from Mark McHugh last November. So the boys had it in the crosshairs. They might say that they only had a week or two to prepare, but Westmeath had a plan in place for Meath months in advance. And I would imagine that Conor Laverty and Down have a plan in place.
That's their job,
to take
Tommy.
on Donegal.
That's their job.
They do, but Donegal are a phenomenal outfit. Phenomenal. Like, they're top dogs at the moment. I think it's so hard to even come with a plan against Donegal because obviously Down will put up. There's not going to be that one-sided or anything, but I just think Donegal are operating at a different level to the rest of the country at the moment. I think they're tuned in. They have that kind of anger, hurt, start of the championship, quality all over the field. I could see just a 5 or 6 point victory for Donegal there.
They've been the best team over the spring, by far. the league final performance solidified that. What you're kind of hoping for. Remember, only a couple of years ago, Derry won the National League under Mickey Hart, and they bounced into an ambush against Donegal and were caught, and then Wales going to come out for them. I just think Donegal are just way further down the road than that. And totally agree, Colin Laverty's done a brilliant job with them, get them promoted. They were unlucky in a couple of the big championship games last year as well in the All-Ireland series, but if it was against anyone other than this Donegal team, they just look bulletproof at the minute. Tough draw for them, but they'll make a fist of it. But I can't see past the Donegal victory clearly.
I don't think I'd back anybody going up there to win. Anyone in the country. I think they'd be strong favourites against anyone. The only, maybe in Armagh.
Dublin maybe.
I couldn't see Dublin challenging them at the moment. Kerry, we saw how they dealt with Kerry and Ballyshannon, and in the league final, I think they're on a different planet at the moment, currently. But as we said, the difference in championship and league is stark, and the latter stage of the championship, an even bigger step. So we'll see how it goes.
But here, it's great, isn't it? Like, that was a great couple of games yesterday, and
phenomenal.
This weekend again, provincial championships. Why ever doubt these things? Unbelievable.
There's one other factor. O'Donnell Park in Letterkenny is the venue for Donegal and Down. It's not going to be in Ballybuffet where McGuinness has really built the fortress. Has an unbelievable record there, so that could be a little thing in the head as well. Last one, lads. Derek Craig, we'd imagine, is out for the Mayo Roscommon game. Big loss in that Connacht semi-final.
Was there an appeal?
When is that confirmed?
I don't know. I went looking there. I don't really see it. I don't know if there will be an appeal or if there has been.
It looked very soft in the video.
Yeah, and my understanding is the linesman had brought it to the referee's attention. So
Conor Lane?
No, it wasn't Conor Lane.
Oh, sorry.
The linesmen are under savage pressure to report absolutely everything now.
Everything. Get him off. Get him out of there.
He's swearing.
We had a club game in West Clare at the weekend, James. No umpires, no linesmen, prison rules. How did you get on in your game?
We lost away to Ballylongford.
Okay.
By a couple of points. It was nice to be back though.
How was the body?
The body is shook. I only played half an hour, played the first half, and the hips, brains, Jesus.
First half had 9 shots, 1 score.
The driving
No
did not help.
tackles.
The driving was hard, very hard. So my back as well, Jesus. But I won't talk now. So that was Saturday. I won't talk till Wednesday. So that's a nice bit of a break, and then play again Sunday.
Lovely.
One session.
That's great.
One match.
The Paddy Small approach, I hope.
Are we expecting a big response from Kerry against Clare? A statement after the last time we saw Kerry, obviously they got a bit of a clipping against Donegal.
I don't know. It's very quiet in the Kerry camp at the moment. They're away in Portugal. I'd imagine they tried to get up to where they need to be there. The risk with that is obviously you're running the risk of overcooking and getting a few knocks and niggles. So I think there's probably a few knocks and niggles after coming out of that trip. So we'll see. Okay. I don't know how how Clare are going to come at this game, but the whole country is talking about a possible Cork Kerry final, and with Cork, possibly turning Kerry over. So it's definitely a bananas game for Kerry. But
I haven't heard much of that.
For a Portugal training camp, your skills, your sharpness will be there, and look, you think that Kerry will win that, but
yeah,
you never know.
Paddy, who have you got on GA Plus later on The View?
Obviously doing a lot of Munster hurling as well. So Podge College is on. David Hyland is on.
Podge coming up the road, is he?
I don't know if he's there in person or not.
I have a missed call.
We're trying to get Heslin on. So Heslin
lovely.
Out celebrating after Westmeath's victory. But no, it's hurling and football, so it'll be a busy Brilliant. Show. But are we doing a little preview on Mayo and the Rossies later in the week, or we just review it next week?
Well, unless you what do you want to get stuck into? I thought that you were on the clock. I thought you were on the clock.
We are. I'm saying in general.
I think we'll just do the reaction.
We'll give it an extra 5 minutes after the game.
Unless you want to call into a... Unless you want to call into a pub. We'll go to a pub in Mayo on Friday night.
Yeah, any takers? Yeah, get over to Westport there would be nice. No, it would be a great game. But now we'll be looking at watch Leinster finals or Leinster matches from yesterday and the Munster Hurling Championship. So I have to read up who won those Munster Hurling games. Limerick playing, no?
Yeah. No Limerick.
Okay.
No Limerick this week.
Through a bit of homework here. Very good.
I gotta get working on the Gaelic football power rankings for tomorrow, our show, and figure out where the hell to put Meath and down. So
snakes and ladders, Tommy. Snakes and ladders.
Boys, thanks for today.
7th or 8th, that's it, Tom, were they?
They were 7th already.
Top spot.
They're already 7th, so they'll be going back, I think, to 10th. We'll see. Paddy Andrews, James O'Donoghue, good fun as always. Thanks for helping me get through this Monday morning.
Good stuff, boys.
See you, lads. Talk to you soon.
See you later.